to be taking the door panel off. I'm going to get inside and find out what's going on, find out if it's something that I can reattach or if it's something that I need to replace. So stay tuned. I'll be showing you how the door panel comes off and how I get in there and see what we got going on. Okay, so I got a few tools there. Got a Phillips head, a T30 Torx driver, and I've got several of these little pry type tools that are coming in pretty handy. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to have to remove a few things, get some screws. There's a couple of screws down underneath here, one underneath going in, one underneath here going in. Those have been removed. There's one at the end here. You can see that plug. I'm going to pull that plug out. I'll set it aside so I don't lose the plug. There's a screw in there, so we'll remove that. And then up here, this has to come up. You've got to be careful when you don't want to mess things up with this, so you got to be kind of careful when you pry these up. Pull that out. There's a clip right there. This is for the window up and down. So we want to remove that. Set that aside. On here, I don't know if you can see it, I'll show a close-up of it in a minute. There's a little clip right here. You push that in, and that helps to, you push in with your thumb, and that helps to release that so you can pull it on out. And just kind of leave that sitting there. We're going to pull this off as well. Same thing, you want to be sort of careful. This just has clips, so set that aside. And then inside here, I believe is where the Torx are. Okay, yeah, that's a T30. So I will unscrew this one first. I might speed up through portions of this video so it's not boring watching me unthread this. So, to show you what a Torx driver is, make sure it's in focus. That's the way the tip looks on this, and that's the head. You can see it's kind of got a star pattern, and it's a T30, Torx T30. There's a panel back behind here, so I'm going to remove it. Open this up, reach back behind it. And just have to kind of play with it a little bit. That comes off. And then hopefully you can see inside there, there's another screw. Okay, so the next thing I have to do, I'm going to have to remove this. This is your little control for your mirrors. It's sitting on top of a little lip you're going to see in here. So I'm going to pull this off. There's a couple of clips inside that hold that in place. And then it's got a connector as well. We can probably just set that out of the way, not worry worry so much about that connector. Okay, so now I should be able to pick this up and out. Normally I'd say have the window roll down when you do this, but that's the reason I'm getting in there. The window's already down. Try to bring the camera around because I need to show you another couple of clips. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. The door handle, it's got a connector for the outside door handle to the inside door handle. So you have to remove this clip right here. And then it pops out of that hole right there. Hopefully you could see that. And then over here there's another connector. If you can see this, there's another connector right here which has a little squeeze clip. And sometimes while you're hanging onto the door panel, it's not the easiest thing to unclip. Okay, bring the camera back around again. Okay, so back from this side again. And once I got this clip undone and this clip out, this one was hanging up through the hole. You just have to kind of feed it through the hole. That's the one we disconnected from in here. So I'm going to set this aside. So now I'm going to take this plastic off. I'm going to look inside and see what we got. So we'll do this together. I put a lot of this Gorilla Snot all over this thing. See, I've got a speaker here. I got some screws that hold that speaker in, which keeps me from pulling this all the way up. Maybe I don't need to worry about that, so I'm just going to tuck that out of the way for the moment. I don't know if you can see here or not, I've got a railing here, and I got a piece right here that's attached to the bottom of the glass, and a little plastic guide that comes along the edge of this thing, and slides up on that. So what I'm going to try to do now, I'm going to try to bring the window up. Something dropped out of the There's a cable here. It's hard to describe the way this thing looks or works on the inside. There's a cable that comes around to a gear where the motor is. The motor's over here. So I might have to pull that. I have to pull this speaker off anyway, because I think that's going to leave me a hole, allow me access to get inside there and see what I have to do. I may end up having to replace the regulator. We'll find out in a minute. I think I'm going to get some tape, put tape around the top to help hold that glass up while I'm doing this so it doesn't come down and be a guillotine. So, okay, so I got some duct tape, help the door frame to keep that window up so it doesn't drop on me like a guillotine. I'm going to go ahead and pull that speaker out now so I've got room to get in there, and we'll see what we got to do. These are a 6mm. Of course, another connector here. Same thing, got a little squeeze. Just fold that thing up out of the way. Aha. Okay. So you can see this is the end of the cable. This is supposed to be pulling on something. Okay, so obviously this thing came loose from where it's supposed to be. And once that happened, it lost the tension and the weight of the window just caused it to drop down. So what I'm probably going to have to do, I'm not sure just yet, but most likely I'm going to have to replace the regulator assembly. Because if I have to order parts, I may just have to leave the window like this for a day or two to keep rain from getting in it until the parts come in. But we'll continue on and I'll show you how we do it. Stay tuned. Go have a sandwich. Okay, I'm back. Did you enjoy your sandwich? Okay. So, I did a little inspecting in here, check things out, and to find out it is broken. I need to replace the window regulator. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove these two screws here, which are part of this holding system here. There's another one here and here for an inside one. These two to take the electric motor off. Sometimes what I like to do is once I've got something apart like this, once I have this out, I may just put these little screws back in those holes so I know exactly where they go later on. So you can see now that that motor once I have it out of here, you'll be able to see what the thing looks like on the inside. You like having X-ray vision. Make sure when you did it, make sure you got something holding the window up. Like I said, I've got the duct tape up there. Otherwise, it could be a guillotine. Safety first. At least that's what my auto shop teacher kept telling me back in high school, back in the 1980s. Wow, that's a long time ago. Okay, now this one has got a clamp. It's hard to describe it. I'll show it to you later, but basically it's got a little clamp that's holding onto the bottom of the glass. There's a screw on the side of it. You loosen the screw up and it opens it up. And you tighten it and it squeezes down so it grabs the bottom of that window. It's still up there against the window, and because I've got it taped up, I can't bring it down. Normally I'd be able to bring it down and see it in here, but I'm going to have to probably just use a hand wrench and get up there and work with it. So I'll go get a 10 open end wrench. You don't have to take it all the way off, I just have to loosen it up enough where it can drop away from its grip. Now this one, I've got to do the same thing. Let's hope it's also a 10 millimeter. Pull this part out first. There we go. Whee. Okay, see there's a little plug right here. Just need to squeeze that a little bit. This will come out. And I'll take a look. I think I found where it got broke. And that'll explain something else I'll tell you about in just a minute. Go get me a pair of needle nose pliers to squeeze that little nub right there is what I'm going to squeeze. Got a little expanding head. I just squeeze that down and it'll pop through like that. Hopefully you can see the head on that. See, once it goes through the hole, pops out and locks it in place, and that's what went through here. So here's how it was. Basically right about there. See that screw that was right there? That was holding it up right there. And this. So it's just about like that inside. On the inside edge here, there is the piece that fell out. This is the piece that holds the glass. So there's that bolt that squeezes down on that. So the glass fits in there like that, squeezes down on it. This piece here rides along this groove, thusly. So you see how this one was gripping that piece that slid up and down? This is supposed to do the same thing. This came apart. I will now order this up, and then I will start the video back up again when I'm ready to put it back in, so you can see how that works. So thanks for watching so far. Stick around and please like and subscribe. Okay, one more thing to warn you about. If you find yourself in the same position where you have to order a part and then be using your car for a few days while you're waiting for the part to come in, make sure when you put this plastic back on that you leave this hanging outside where you can get to it. This is how you're going to open the door from the inside. So rather than put the whole door panel off, save myself the trouble of that, I just kind of stick this back on, put my speaker back in, and then what you do is you grab onto this and you pull on this, and that'll do the same thing to help you open the door. So to find out if I'm right or not, let's watch. It's an escape button. So, okay, well, it has been a few days for me, but for you probably just that quick, huh? The part came in, so I got my part from Rock Auto. Came with some instructions. There's the piece right there. So in here it's hard to see, but these are little tiny teeth on the inside. That's what the motor fits into and spins. So as it spins, it causes this cable to move. The part that broke was this part here, which rides up in this area. That had been coming loose. And you can see where there's the part that the window slides into, and then I tighten this bolt to lock it onto the window. And then the same thing happens here with this. So that's where it attaches onto the windows. Wanted to show you something that I came across I thought might have been a mistake. I have to take the motor assembly off the old one, put it to the new one. Seems easy enough. But I noticed on this one, I didn't twist it all the way back in, but there's a screw that went through there, and through there to hold it in place. Once you got it done, you got to, because it's sandwiched in, you got to give it a bit of a spin and then pull it out. You notice here, this is why these things all broke. Cables are all come loose. So that's out of the way. Now you might notice there's a difference. You can see the difference between this one and this one. There's the old one that went through the metal first, then into the plastic. This one's different. You can see that it's a different shape all the way around. So I was a little concerned at first, but it turned out to be okay. What you have to do now is you have to put this in at the same angle that you had before, but these teeth that are in here are going to match with these gears here. So once you put it in, you don't want to be turning it around and everything to get it. So you want to make sure that you line it up with the holes. Now, I went to try to line it up here, and I saw that this hole and this hole were okay, but it missed this hole. And I took it out, and I noticed there's another hole, so that works. But what you're going to do is you're going to line it up with those holes, and then push it in to where it goes in to lock into those teeth. Make sure that's good. Then you turn it over, and we will put the screws in from this side, and that will hold it in place. That is now in there. Get rid of this other one, except remember before I told you that sometimes you don't want to lose your bolts, put them back where they belong. So I put all the bolts that attach this into this old one. That's why I keep onto that. So I know where they are. And now it's a matter of me getting ready to put this on in. So now I've got this bolt, and this one, and this one, and this one. So we're all good. 5 bolts, that's what took care of it. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. I'm going to plug in some of these wires, and I'm going to try to lower the window down so I can gain access to the screws to tighten up those little clamps that hold onto the bottom of the glass. So let's get going with that. I've taken the tape off. I'm going to use acetone to get this off the window and off the paint on the body. Acetone works real well at getting rid of that, so don't worry about that too much. Now I've got it in the up position. Get ready to put it all together and give it a test run. I remember that during the colder climate, it was struggling to go up, which meant it was probably a little bit out of alignment. So I want to make sure while it's up that I got it a perfect fit within the frame. I don't want it to be too tight forward, or backward or forward. So just kind of move around to make sure that it seems to be in a good place. Also follow along the mark here. Remember I told you that there was a little scuff mark across the top of the window where the tint was, because it was riding. And I want to make sure we're all good here. When I get it down, I'm going to try to remember to take some silicone spray and spray it inside the channels as well. But most of the guide comes from this right here. Now I've tightened these down, so we're all set there. I got the windows in the right position. I got these pushed up. Now luckily for me, right through this hole I can see the tightening bolt that holds the window on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and cinch it down. I had it loose so I could make sure that it sits in the right spot. I didn't want it to be forward or backward because it could cause a bind. So I'm going to squeeze that down. This one I'm not quite so lucky, so I have to use my open-end wrench, but I can feel it up here. Okay, moment of truth. So I have the tape removed I've got the window situated the way I want it. I got these tightened up and secured. So now it's time for me to try it out. Stand back in case something explodes. Just kidding. Well, I'm standing back. Okay, so I hear it trying to go up. The reason I'm not going down real fast is because I want to make sure in case something binds up or gets in the way, I can clear it up. Cool. It's got the valet down. What do you think? It works. There we go. I don't know why that was so hard. Now it's just a matter of putting all these screws back in. Okay, I didn't put that one all the way in tight because I might need to do a little movement here and there. Now, that inside plastic membrane that I put back on, sometimes it doesn't line up exactly with the holes. So sometimes you put a screw in and you're not sure if it's getting in the right hole or not because it's hitting the plastic. But it'll go right through the plastic, so we should be in good shape. And now I can kind of eyeball some of these other holes and I can see if I need to move it over here. Because sometimes if you tighten them all the way down, it prevents movement. And if you don't have the movement, then you can't get some of the bolts to line up properly. So you want to make sure to get them all threaded in there good, but not tight. That way you know they're in the hole, they're going to hold it. But it will still allow you to have a little bit of movement if you need it. Okay, as promised, we're going to clean up that residue. When I folded over that membrane off to the side, some of the black goop got on here. I'll clean that up as well. And you can see the strip here and the strip here, also on the inside from the duct tape. So, acetone and just a paper towel. Or a rag, whatever you might have handy. Just a little bit of elbow grease. And it comes off. Up in the paint as well. Okay, so I've got it all secured back together again. I got all the goop cleaned off the window. As you will be able to see, got the one touch down, that works, all the way back up. Now you notice across the top, you see that scuffing? But that scuffing should all go up inside this weather strip and hide. And it did. Nice thing about that is for the last month or two I've been noticing wind noise across the top, and I noticed that I could see the scuffing about a 1/4 inch wide of it, which meant that it was slowly coming down, was not going up all the way. And that's because that piece that was breaking, it was flexing until it finally broke, and then the window dropped. So, job done. If you end up doing it yourself, good luck. Just take your time with it. Make sure you keep track of where the nuts and bolts go, and you should be okay. Thanks for watching Doc's Projects. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I appreciate it. See you next time.